This is the lab safety video and equipment video for Mrs. Henrietta. This is the fire blanket. You can open the fire blanket box and there is a blanket inside. The blanket feels sort of soft, kind of like one of those thick wool blankets that's kind of itchy when you use it. Next is the fume hood. This is the fume hood. It's like the big box that you see in a science classroom, and you close the window and it has some switches on the bottom. So if you look here, we have a gas nozzle. So inside the fume hood, there's a place where the gas would come out. It is right there. You would hook up a hose to it and you could light a Bunsen burner for a flame using the gas. There's also a light switch, or if you can turn it light on. There is a fan, and that is why it's called a fume hood. If you turn the fan on, you should be able to hear it. It sucks the fumes out like a bathroom fan, as long as you have the window closed. And there's a plug and a water. Here's the sink where the water comes out, and it has a nozzle on it so you can hook up a tube so you could put water into some piping and do a little experiment. Next is the safety shower. You pull the handle if you get chemicals all over your body and it burns. The eye wash. The eye wash, you push this little handle right here forward and water comes out. I don't know if mine's hooked up at the moment. Yep, there we go. A little bit of water coming out. You're supposed to put your face right down into the bowl so the water goes in your eyes and washes your eyes out. Next, we have some equipment. These are called beakers. There's plastic and glass. They have a little spout to pour, and they have measurements on them, but they're not very precise because it's a really big container to measure something in. It's more of a here's how much you have kind of line. These are graduated cylinders. There's a plastic one and a glass one, and then I have a smaller size as well. So this is a 100 milliliter graduated cylinder. This is a 10 milliliter. Erlenmeyer flask. It has a stopper in the top. Flasks are good for mixing things because you can put the stopper in and you can swirl it to mix whatever it is you put in there. A pipette. The pipette's kind of like a medicine dropper. You squeeze the top, suck up some liquid, and then you spit it out into some other container. There are no lines on here, so measurements are something you have to do ahead of time. Glass test tube and a test tube holder. There's no lines to tell you how much you have in here either, so you'd have to use a graduated cylinder to measure. And a plastic test tube. Now this one does have some lines with numbers. It's a little hard to see there because they're clear. And then it has a lid, so you could mix something in it if you wanted to. Next is beaker tongs. Beaker tongs open and close so you can hold a beaker in them. You use it if the beaker's hot so you don't touch it with your hand. Scupulas, they scoop chemicals. One end's a spatula and one end's a spoon on that one, so scupula. Test tube clamps. So for the glass test tube, if you were heating it up, you could use this. Put the test tube in there and you can hold it and then your hand doesn't get burnt. Test tube brush to clean out the test tube. Kind of looks like a bottle brush. You might have one in your kitchen. And a glass stirring rod. So the glass stirring rod is to mix things up.